Hello, hello, hello. So, we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff today. There's some good things going on. I'm not going to lie. There's some really bad, shady things going on, too. And we're going to talk about all of it because, well, that's what we're going to do. And the first little element of good news here is from the Biden administration. Now, here's the thing. I want everybody to go watch my previous video that I only posted, by the way, on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute. I'll leave links to it, or you could just go right to my channel. It'll be the latest video on all three of these channels. And by the way, I want to encourage everybody, first of all, to go subscribe on Rumble and Odyssey, because those are the ones that, as of right now, have live streaming capabilities. And I'm likely going to start doing more live streams on these alt tech platforms because, well, you know, YouTube, all that, whatever. Especially for the more controversial topics, which I'm going to get into more in the future. I can't even name some of these crazy topics, boys and girls here. I can't even name it. So, we're just going to leave it at that. So, but I want to encourage everybody to go to Rumble and Odyssey and subscribe. And if you watch my latest video, I talk about this individual, the Mary Poppins of the DHS Disinformation Board, Nina Jankowicz. I talk about her a little bit and what she went on to say about certain things. She goes on to say that she wants the power to go on Twitter and Facebook and all these places and be able to basically edit your tweets and your posts, essentially, or at least add context to them, where it's kind of like, oh, you said that, for instance, you know, so-and-so did this at this time. Actually, here's more context to your news take, right? So it would be sort of like this busybody correction police on social media that goes and adds like multiple paragraphs to your tweet or something that adds more context, quote unquote, to anything that the administration deems disinformation. So I talk about that, and I showed the video where she goes on to talk about that and claim that they should be able to do that in the on the previous videos that I posted on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble. So you can go subscribe on those alt platforms. And please, really, do that. And also, if you want to contribute, I have a Patreon, and also I'll be reading Super Chats today. And before I get into it, I just want to read and see what we got going on here. Hey, Miss Maskless, nice to see ya. And I do want to tell a joke that Super Tiger left. This is kind of a good one. I got to admit, I laughed a little bit. So here's the joke. That Super Tiger TV said, so some scientists got together and said, hey, old man, and this is to God, right? Said to God, we don't need you and have figured out how to create life all by ourselves. They grew dirt around, or they threw dirt around and this, that, and voila, created life. And they said, see, we created life. And God said, okay, but get your own dirt. There you go, right? It goes to show that all these like atheists out there, and I know there might be some atheists watching, you know, the air you breathe, the dirt you step on, all of that, and you yourself were all created by God. It's time to accept that, boys. So moving on. So let's get into the information and the news. So look, this is from New York Post. Biden disinfo. Mary Poppins on ice after they scrapped the Orwellian DHS board. So this is scrapped officially. This is done after 3 weeks. The disinformation board that Nina Jankowicz was the head of and that Biden created, the Ministry of Truth, after 3 weeks is done. Completely scrapped. And at this point, I'm going to show you what is actually going to happen. So Nina Jankowicz resigned, so that element is done with. But they are actually bringing in like another board to review and make a decision. What I actually think they're going to do in probably about 3 or 4 months, they're going to bring this back because it started getting too much heat in the media, too much criticism. You had politicians and even like judges and lawyers like really criticizing this, saying this really could go against the First Amendment, labeling things disinformation and trying to censor people, and advocating to have these social media platforms openly censor people. You see, this was all going on in the background. They just wanted to make it more official with the Disinformation Ministry of Truth Board in the Department of Homeland Security, which, by the way, from the onset, from the get-go, was created out of the Patriot Act, out of 9/11. We all know what 9/11 was all about. Of course, to create a police state here in the U.S. and have justification to use our military to go fight wars for really the globalists and Israel, let's be honest. So that's really what that was all about. And now we're seeing more of the fruits of this, and they had to pause this, though, because man, this Ministry of Truth, especially with Nina Jankowicz as the head of it, was getting too much press and too much criticism, and they just had to tone it down a bit, especially with the 2022 midterms. That's my opinion. They're going to bring this back when you're not paying attention. They're going to bring this back, and they're going to do it in a different type of way with somebody not as animated as Nina Jankowicz. I'm going to show you why they had to just get rid of her. Right? She had to resign. So anyway, let's read the article first. In a statement on Wednesday, Nina Jankowicz, the disinformation expert tapped to head the panel, said that with the board's work paused and its future uncertain, I have decided to leave DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, to return to my work in the public sphere. So what does she mean by that, by the way? Her work in the public sphere? Quasi-governmental think tanks and intelligence agencies, data collections analysts and all this that go on to basically work hand in hand with government and big tech and big media and all that to censor you anyway. So her job is still essentially the same. She's a busybody, former teacher's pet, former student council member, former drama club member, I'm sure, that goes on to try to henpeck you for having wrong think opinions on the internet. That's all it is. That's all she does. That's all she'll ever be, and that's all she'll ever do. She probably will, burn in hell. So just take comfort in that, I guess. Jankowicz's department and the decision to scrap the board was first reported by the Washington Post. The board had been the subject of weeks of backlash from Republicans, libertarians, and even some liberals who liken the scheme to the Ministry of Truth from George Orwell's classic novel 1984. The Washington Post reported that DHS had decided to stop the board's work on Monday, and Jankowicz had crafted a resignation letter as of Tuesday morning. The outlet added that she had been given the option to stay on in a call with DHS officials Tuesday evening, but of course she declined that. I don't blame. See, this is all set up. The fact that she declined it. I'm sure she was told to decline the offer. They wanted to get rid of her. They gave her the opportunity to resign. They didn't want to get rid of her because she didn't do a good enough job or anything, or wasn't henpecking enough for the DHS and the Biden administration. It was because she was garnering too much attention on the Department of Disinformation. They had to make this open, but see, a lot of what the Great Reset is all about is like telling you what they're doing without shedding too much light on it, without just shedding too much attention on it. They don't want it to become the main topic of conversation usually, unless they want to widen the Overton window. Sometimes that is the agenda, but other times, like with this, they kind of just wanted to ease it in and like have it one of the background stories in the media that guys like me still would have probably talked about. But, your typical Tucker Carlson's and Fox News's and others wouldn't have to pick it up or would be told not to pick it up. But it looks like it got just too much attention and they were forced to pick it up. And now they're scrapping it. This is after 3 weeks. I think it is cause for a little bit of a celebration, but we've got to be vigilant because this is going to come back. Yeah. So just checking out what you guys are saying in the chat here. Hold on. What's up, everyone? What's up, Faith Farah? Tom Sawyer. We got Tom Sawyer in the chat. My boy. Oh, yeah. So anyways, let me see here. Okay, moving on. So, and we're gonna look at Mary Poppins over here at this. I mean, just look. You won't even. You know what? I'm just gonna play it right now. Check this out. This is why they had to like scrap this. It was the worst decision ever to make her the head of the Disinformation Ministry of Truth. Check this out. Like, this wouldn't get a crap load of attention. Like, they didn't. I know these people's plans. I can see it. I've been doing this for so long now. I can tell what they're thinking and what they're gonna do next and why they do what they do. And let me tell you, maybe they didn't know about these TikToks. They probably didn't know about them, right? And that's probably why they hired her. But this is falling apart, and I think this is why. So check it out.
Laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared bad intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain. They're laundering disinfo, and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh, information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origin seems slightly less atrocious. Woo.
Wow, dude. Like, just so cringe. The absolute cringiest of the cringe. And now it's done. Thank the Lord. Really, thank God. Like, imagine having her henpecking everything you say on Facebook, Twitter, or, you know, like, part of what, like, this is why I tell everybody you got to watch the Buffalo shooting video I put out, because part of that whole thing, that incident just a few days ago, in my opinion, was to have a pretext to be able to not only censor, obviously, big tech social media. We all know that's been going on for a long time now, Facebook and all that, YouTube, whatever, but also to have the same justification to go in and have like a government intervention and justification to censor whole websites. Because you have some of these platforms now that are popping up, like, what is it? Owen Benjamin has one. What's it called? I forget what it's called. It's called something TV. And then like Nick Fuentes has one, Cozy TV or whatever. And Glenn Beck has like something, Blaze TV. So now it's like people are starting their own platforms and own unauthorized TV. That's Owen Benjamin's and Vox Day. So they have like their own streaming services now, and people are building their own websites. You have Gab, of course. You have 4chan still going on or whatever, but that's just a shithole of half of them are shills. Of course. Well, this is like anywhere. This is the other thing we're going to get into. Man, I should have just labeled everything we're going to get into at the beginning of this video, because we're going to get into how the entire internet, by the way, is fake now. It's almost all fake, especially on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, it's just not even real, right? I mean, half of the people that are probably subscribed to me probably either deleted their accounts or are bots, right? Not the viewers. The viewers are real, because I don't get like any viewers in comparison to my subscribers. And then like if you look at Twitter, it's the same thing for like a lot of the big Twitter followings, and half the people commenting are also bots on Twitter. It's not just the followers themselves. It's like fake comments. You know, this is why you have astroturfing, which I've talked about for a long time, where like armies of shills, the Israeli government were doing this for a while, would promote a certain ideology or agenda, whether it's like a pro-vaccine or like pro-war in the Middle East or something like that. And they would go and they would form people's opinions based on these astroturfing campaigns. They would have whole departments dedicated to it. This has all been declassified. Israel was one of the big players in this back in the day. Now all the governments do it. It's definitely true. But now half of it or most of it is probably animated. Completely animated, like all bots, because AI's gotten a lot better the past 10 years, and now they can just animate the whole entire thing. The internet's completely fake. So we're going to get into that too. So Nina Jankowicz isn't going to be able to censor the bots. She wouldn't have anyway. They probably would have created more bots. Because that's what these people do. You know, they actually called themselves basically the Department of Disinformation, like the Disinfo department. Like they're there to create disinfo. It's funny. It's like how the World Wildlife Fund is there to really just destroy the planet. You know, it's like how the ESG score, which we're going to get into because Elon's declaring war on the UN and ESG. I don't trust Elon, but I'm just saying like this is part of like what's going on. Is there to really destroy corporations, right? And destroy actual like good corporations that are doing good things, and then prop up all the corrupt ones that are doing the New World Order, World Economic Forum, UN talking points and agenda. So that's what that's all about. Anyways, moving on, talking about the Disinfo department here. White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre, we're going to talk about her too, just a total disaster. Attempted to distance the West Wing from the disastrous initiative, insisting that we do not have involvement in this at all when asked if top officials had ordered the halt. So this one right here, this one. She is a disaster, too. This is another thing falling apart in the Biden administration. Just total disaster. The Biden administration had quietly announced the creation of the board last month, saying it was meant to fight the spread of disinformation spread by agents of Russia, China, and Iran, and that can affect border security, American safety during disasters, and public trust in our democratic institutions. Amid the backlash, DHS insisted that the board does not have any operational authority or capability and was meant to preserve rather than limit free speech. Total bullshit, total BS. And I mean, this goes without saying. You know, just look at Mary Poppins talk about how, you know, they got to censor anything they deem disinformation, right? And again, we're gonna talk more about it here. A DHS spokesperson insisted the board was grossly and intentionally mischaracterized, telling the Post it was never about censorship or policing speech in any manner. It was designed to ensure we fulfill our mission to protect the homeland, protect the homeland, while protecting core constitutional rights. However, false attacks have become a significant distraction from the department's vitally important work to combat disinformation that threatens the safety and security of the American people. However, Jankowicz's idea of standing up for the First Amendment, including letting verified Twitter users edit other people's tweets if the blue-checked chosen think they're misleading. Like, that is the epitome. That's the antithesis of free speech, right? Going in and being like, actually, and, you know, inserting your fake context half the time, probably. Some of it might be real, but, you know, known liars can't help but lie. These people are all pathological liars. The government and the system itself, the corporations, the ESGs of the world, right? And then the UN and all of these quasi-governmental groups and all this, they are built on a system of lies, okay? It's all, like, they are the children of the lie. These people are the children of the lie. They worship the father of lies. Yep. Yep. All right. I was just looking at some of your comments in there. Jankowicz also repeatedly tried to spread doubt about the Post's own reporting about Hunter Biden's notorious laptop, telling the Associated Press in October 2020 that it should be viewed as a Trump campaign product. Yeah, it was all confirmed true now, by the way. Yeah, we all know that. Now the mainstream media reports it's 100% true. And they censored the whole thing because they wanted the election to go a certain way, right? The media, like, seething at the mouth, hated Trump for whatever reason. Even I don't know why they did, because he's basically on board with half their agenda. But they did. You know, it's like it's because there were little things that he went rogue on, you know, that they didn't agree with, you know, getting rid of the TPP and like bringing the troops home. They were like, yeah, we can't do that. Bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., we can't do that. Halting immigration, we can't do that. But Trump was like their vaccine seller. But of course, they decided to overlook the fact that Trump was selling their vaccines for them and put. Wait, I can't say it. I forgot. This is a YouTube stream, and helping the public get super healthy. Where's my clown suit? So, in addition, Jankowicz pushed the since-debunked claim in 2016 that the then-presidential candidate Donald Trump was a tie to a Kremlin-linked Alpha Bank, an allegation at the center of an ongoing trial of a Clinton campaign lawyer accused by special counsel Durham of lying to the FBI. Yeah, so they talk about her TikTok stuff. They talk about her goodbye statement, in which she whined about the mischaracterizations of the disinformation board from conservatives, of course, and how it became a distraction to the department's vital work, and indeed, along with recent events globally and nationally, embodies why it's necessary. That's why you resigned, right? You weren't told to resign because you were too much of a cringe fest. I mean, look at you.
It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious.
Yeah, like, whatever. So now I just want to talk about this for a second, because this is actually really funny. Ramsey Paul did a really good video on this, and it just goes to show that. So this is the new press secretary, Jean, what's her name? Hold on, who's in here? Karine Jean-Pierre. Of course, she's been in a couple of press conferences, filling in for the old whatever. I mean, what was her name? Brain fart, redhead, crazy chick. Really, I'm having this brain fart. Anyways, so she's the new one, and she doesn't know what she's doing. I mean, check this out. This is really cringe. She's asked how increasing the tax rate brings down inflation, because Biden tweeted this very thing last week. He tweeted out basically that raising taxes is going to decrease inflation, which makes absolutely no sense at all, because obviously if you raise taxes, it doesn't really matter if you raise taxes on corporations, or if you raise taxes on the rich, or if you raise taxes on the poor or the middle class. It's going to increase inflation. And especially if you raise taxes on businesses and people who have a lot of money, what that is going to entail, what that's going to result in, is these corporations and these people with money who own businesses or whatever are going to raise the price and the prices of the things they sell and the services they sell, because on the back end of their business, calculating their numbers, they're getting taxed up the wazoo. So in order to make up for that and still remain profitable, they have to raise prices most of the time. And that's exactly what it would entail. So, of course, Biden tweeted the opposite last week and claimed a total lie and said that raising taxes would, of course, decrease inflation. Total bullshit, right? So she's asked about this by Peter Doocy, whatever, and this is her response.
The president's Twitter account posted the other day, "You want to bring down inflation, let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share." Mm-hmm. How does raising taxes on corporations reduce inflation?
So Are you talking about a specific tweet?
He tweeted, "You want to bring down inflation? Let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share."
Look, we have talked about this past year about making sure that the wealthiest among us are paying their fair share. And that is important to do, and that is something that the president has been working on every day when we talk about inflation and lowering costs. And so it's very important that as we're seeing costs rise, as we're talking about how to
she's not making any sense. All she's saying is it's important for us to raise taxes and make sure the wealthy are paying their fair share. No, raising taxes is good. I don't care what anybody says, right? Like, I guess you could make an argument that, like, maybe the very top tier of people, not corporations, not businesses, that you could maybe tax Warren Buffett a little more. But even then, then they start making these arguments of like, oh, we got to tax unearned capital gains or unrealized capital gains, which is like outrageous, right? That's this idea. And that's what they're trying to push with this, too. When Biden tweeted that, that's what he was alluding to. They want to, and this is all part of the Great Reset plan, right? And I think they tried this in France, and all the corporations left. They want to be able to tax you on capital gains you haven't even earned yet or realized yet. So if you own like a whole bunch of stock, and the stock goes up in price over that year, let's say it doubles in price, right? And so like your net worth is double in relation to that stock, at least, that you own. They want to be able to tax that even if you didn't sell the stock, right? So if you just owned like a whole bunch of, I don't know, like Apple stocks, right? Let's say you're Apple's a bad example. Let's say you're the CEO of like, Tesla, right? So let's say you're the CEO of Tesla and you own like half of Tesla, and then, the value goes up by half. They want to be able to tax you for that, even though you haven't sold any of it. And it's the same thing, by the way, if you own property in your home. So their whole agenda here, this is part of the Great Reset plan. This is one of the bullet points they gave the Biden administration when they put him in office and, of course, fairly won the election. It was to do this, right? To install this in the U.S. just to destroy the country. They want to be able to tax you, like if your home price rose or let's just say it doubled in a year, hypothetically. They want to be able to tax you on that, even though you didn't sell your home. So that's the whole theory. And this is why it doesn't work, is because then what if that goes back down, right? Then you're getting what? You don't get that money back. Right? Let's say it goes down the next year. You just paid a whole bunch of money for something you didn't sell just for holding it. So anyway, and so she's not making any sense here. She's avoiding the question. She's totally detracting, like not even making any sense. You could tell she's lacking confidence, trying to look for an answer in her head. She's nervous. She doesn't know what to say. It's because, this is a thing, right? And this is what this is all about. They wanted a woman of color to be the press secretary, to be the face of the Biden administration on camera for the press. And, when you hire people based on the way they look and the color of their skin and their gender, you're not going to get the best results, because that is not the criteria in which people should be hired to do a job. That has nothing to do with how well you do the job, right? Obviously. So it's this diversity and inclusion agenda that's really destroying our country in many ways, because instead of competency and meritocracy being the criteria for which people hire, you have just race and gender. I mean, like what's that? That's nothing. That doesn't mean anything, right? That means absolutely nothing in terms of how well you do a job. Of course. Duh. I guess you can kind of make an argument that if, you need somebody who speaks Spanish, maybe you hire them because they speak Spanish. But even then, what's that have to really do with race? Because you can be white and speaking Spanish too. So anyway, let's go into it.
build a America that's safe, that's equal for everyone and doesn't leave everyone behind. That is an important part of that as well.
But how does raising taxes on corporations lower the cost of gas, the cost of a used car, the cost of food for everyday Americans?
So look, I think we encourage those who have done very well, right? Especially those who care about climate change, to support a fair tax code that doesn't charge manufacturers, workers, cops, builders a higher percentage of their earnings, that the most fortunate people in our nation, and not let that stand in the way of reducing energy costs and fighting this existential problem, if you think about that as an example. And to support basic collective bargaining rights as well, right? That's also important. But look, it is, without having a fair
I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, she's not making any sense. She's not even answering the question at all. Like, she's not even good at detracting. She's not even good at trying to, twist or go in another direction or segue or anything like that. She, like, at least... Oh, Psaki, right? That's her name, Jen Psaki. Like, really? I can't believe I had a brain fart on that earlier because I've talked about her a million times. At least Psaki was, like, good at detracting from a question and not answering it. She just, like, she looks like a 5-year-old, being asked, like, about calculus. She has no clue. And she's, like, going through her notes pretending that she might have an answer to the question. She doesn't know. She has no clue. Because... First of all, if she was telling the truth, what she would have to say, and she knows this in her head, and you can see, it's like so animated in her body language, like what's going on here. You can see it's like, yeah, Biden, that doesn't make any sense. How does raising taxes decrease inflation? How do I explain this? Let me look through my notes. Let me, we got to raise taxes on the wealthy, okay? Like, they should be paying their fair share, and we care about inflation, So it's kind of like, I don't know.
Tax code, which is what I'm talking about, then like manufacturing workers, cops, it's not fair for them to have to pay higher taxes than the folks who are not paying taxes at all.
It's just not. This is not fair for the manufacturers and the cops. Yeah. Okay. Right. So she she starts animating herself more to make it look like maybe she has a point to make. But really she's not saying anything. It's kind of like it's bad. It's bad. So, anyways, let's talk about the shill, Elon Musk. Yeah, we all know Elon Musk, the guy who wants to put a brain chip into your head, right? Not to be trusted, but it does look like he's a little bit of a rogue agent, a little bit of a rogue element within the system here. Now this is pretty, like when I read this, I was like, dang, this kind of increases his credibility. Tesla removed from S&P 500's ESG index, Musk responds. Now I've talked about ESG on this channel quite a bit. I've never done like a deep dive into it, but I will say this. What is ESG? It's something called environmental, social, and corporate governance. And it basically is a UN plan and agenda. It's like these criteria and guidelines that the UN put forth so that investors would start investing based on these criteria. What are these criteria? They're basically Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. That's what it is. And it plays a little bit into the World Economic Forum and Great Reset as well, but it's really a UN initiative on the books, right? And so it's called your ESG score, and this is something that corporations get from not only the UN, but like from a collaboration of investors. And it says here right now. About $30 trillion in assets are managed under these ESG guidelines. So many corporations now, if you look at their like business plans and their what do you call it? What are they called? year-end statements and stuff like that, they have a whole section dedicated to ESG and what they're doing to incorporate these guidelines into their corporate structure. And many of these guidelines include these like diversity initiatives and of course the carbon footprint, right? Trying to lower your carbon footprint and be in line with this eco-fascist agenda that really Agenda 2030, the UN and the World Economic Forum and Forum for the Future want to bring about. And so that's what that's all about. And you wonder why all these corporations all at the same time are pushing the same agendas. We saw it quite a bit with COVID, right? Wear your mask. And they all had, the signs to wear your mask. They had in the big corporations like the Walmarts and stuff like that. You had and you still have some of these actually. It's kind of funny. The stickers on the floor that were like hemmed onto the floor of like where you have to stand in line to be 6 feet apart and all of that, and they were on board with everything so quickly. 6 feet apart, wear your mask, you social distance, wear 3 masks, wear 2 masks, go get your vaccine, right? All of these things. And it makes you wonder why they're all on the same page with this is because of the ESG corporate government structure in many ways. And then also with the diversity and inclusion agenda, you wonder why every single commercial you see, you have like a mixed race couple, or you have the guy in the relationship with his wife always looking like the idiot, and the wife looking like the dominant one, and the one who knows better, right, and knows best for the family, leading the family. All of these things, you see a lot of. Now, I'm rewatching Lost on Hulu because I'm a fan of Lost, and I see the commercials now, and I don't watch any TV at all. So now that I sometimes watch Hulu, I watch Lost on Hulu. It does have commercials because I bought I got the cheap plan, okay? I don't feel like paying the extra $4, guys. I'm poor. You can pay like an extra $4 on Hulu and get like no commercials, but I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen commercials in so long. I kind of do want to keep my eye on like what they're pushing at us. And like one of them is like a eHarmony commercial with like an interracial gay couple, and they play it 4 times every episode I watch. And it's like I know this commercial like the back of my hand. It's just so gross. It really is. They show them like hugging and like being like all like flamboyant. And all these corporations are on board with this in the same way. And you see Hollywood pushing the same sort of things, right? The same agenda. Disney with their destroying Star Wars and that whole thing. And I mean, the examples are endless, and this is what ESG really controls. The more ESG has grown, first of all, ESG has grown tremendously over the past 10 years, but even more so over the past 5 years, and we've seen this unified corporate structure of these corporations, all, and of course the governments as well, all pushing the same agenda to a huge degree, the past 5 years especially. And just so happens that ESG has grown within these corporations in the past 5 years especially. So, of course, they correlate perfectly, and that's what you got going on. I mean, that's what the actual guidelines are. Like, you can actually read, just go to Wikipedia, and it'll tell you what it's all about. I mean, you can read the corporate statements from these corporations, the top Fortune 100s and all of this, where they incorporate ESG openly into their business plans. This is how we are adhering to the ESG, right? And this is our ESG score from the UN, and it's like, okay. So anyway, Elon is at war with ESG now. It's really interesting that he is trying this hostile takeover of Twitter. I'm going to turn this on. Hold on. There we go. A little more light. So it's really interesting. He's engaging in this hostile takeover of Twitter, and several weeks later, the S&P 500 ESG index removed Tesla. It almost looks like, maybe there's some globalist types that don't like what Elon's doing in this regard. Of course, they love the fact that he's trying to put a brain chip in you. They'll promote that all day, and they do like the fact that it doesn't make any sense, because ESG, it's all about reducing net carbon emissions, and Tesla's goal is basically kind of the same thing. I mean, they're creating electric cars that reduce the global carbon footprint or whatever. I mean, let's not get into the global warming thing and whether or not that's, even a human-caused global warming. I'm not going to get into that here. I don't know. That's probably bannable on YouTube now from what I don't even know, probably. Probably at this case, watch. There'll be a big hurricane this November or something, and then they'll have a pretext to ban anybody who says that human-caused global warming isn't real. Of course, that's probably what will happen in the next few years. Just so you know, that's a huge agenda the next 8 years. So, yeah, they're trying to attack Elon for all this. So let's read this. Because it's pretty interesting that he goes trying to buy Twitter, and then this happens. I don't know. And you see him. I mean, I'm going to show you some of his recent Twitter threads and all of this, and just his timeline the past 2 days has been like, whoa, this guy is really sharing some pretty hardcore stuff. I'm like, is he our guy? No, I don't think so. But, it is pretty interesting to see. I love this drama type stuff. Despite its mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, Tesla has been removed from the S&P 500's ESG index following its latest rebalancing. The changes to the index took effect on May 2nd. S&P Dow Jones Indices Senior Director and Head of ESG Indices Margaret Dorn said in a blog post on Tuesday that Tesla was ineligible for inclusion in the index due to its low S&P ESG score, which fell in the bottom 25% of its global industry group peers, despite remaining fairly stable year over year. And this is where I think it shows what their agenda really is and why they really did this. Because their ESG score, Tesla's, because he was in line with the agenda for so long, and now he's stepping a little bit outside the boundaries, saying he supports free speech, being critical of those in the system, being a little more supportive of freedom in general, and I guess conservatism in general. I don't like that term conservatism, but a little more anti-globalist. Of course, Trump was the same way, and then he disappointed us, so I'm not saying we should put stock in Elon Musk. That's just what the rhetoric has been. And so right as he's doing this, even though the ESG score for Tesla has been steady year over year, all of a sudden this year, it's all of a sudden no good, right? Right when he comes out as more anti-establishment, right? All of a sudden they do this to Tesla. It's like, whoa, this kind of seems like he's pissing some people off or something. I don't know, because ESG, man, if you're talking crap about ESG, and you're talking crap about the New World Order. ESG really is a prime modus operandi of how Agenda 2030 is going to be implemented, or plans to be implemented. 100%. That is, especially in America where everything is privatized, right? Where it's really tough to get the government intervention in this, like they are able to in Europe, because of our Constitution, because the courts will oftentimes strike down anything that violates, free speech on a government level, not on a private corporation level, though. Right. That's why Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are able to just ban whatever they want anytime they want, but you're still able to go into, Times Square or something, or to the local park and wave a sign that says something that might be objectionable, that might be banned on Twitter. So that's what I'm talking about, right? Oh, okay. While Tesla might be playing its part in taking fuel-powered cars off the road, it has fallen behind its peers when examined through a wider ESG lens, Dorn said. Factors that contributed to Tesla's lower score included its lack of low-carbon energy and code of business conducts. An analysis that seeks to identify the company's current and potential future exposure to risks stemming from its involvement in controversial incidents also found 2 separate events centered around claims of racial discrimination and poor working conditions at Tesla's Fremont factory, as well as its handling of a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigation into 17 injuries and 1 death linked to its crashing of their Tesla cars with the autopilot feature. So now meanwhile, Tesla's the one making the electronic cars, and everybody's buying them now because Elon Musk made electronic cars cool, right? And so, even though that's the case, this is what I'm talking about. This is how you know the ESG score is simply a power play. Because anybody in their right mind, it's obviously common sense, what Elon Musk is doing theoretically, not that I'm in support of anything that the New World Order is promoting, because they don't even, I don't even think your UN and ESG score advocates even care at all about climate change or human-caused global warming or protecting the environment or diversity and inclusion and promoting equity and beliefs and values of wokeism. I don't think they care about that at all. All of that is just a modus operandi and a pretext for them to seize power. That's all it is. All they care about is seizing power and controlling you and taking away your rights and freedoms. That's what this is about. And this just speaks volumes to it, because if they really cared about lowering carbon emissions, they would be propping up Tesla, because Tesla is realistically the only company that has, first of all, a recent history of actually selling electric cars. And then not only that, they have a bright future of selling electric cars too. I mean, it's literally making electric cars cool, even for like conservative types who don't give a crap about global warming. So this is why it's like, realistically, if you were like pro reducing net carbon emissions and diversity and inclusion and all this stuff, you would probably have Tesla at the very top of your ESG S&P 500 list. You probably would, realistically. But, of course, they don't care about that. They care about seizing control. They care about seizing power and taking away your God-given rights. And that is why they see Elon Musk, what he's doing. It's going against their agenda to seize power. And they are demoting Elon Musk. This is payback. This is retribution. They're going to try to destroy him and destroy Tesla. Maybe they'll be successful. I don't know. Maybe this is all controlled opposition, part of the plan. I'm not sure. That's always a thing too, because it's like part of the narrative and all that. But I mean, you got some big moves being made here, and it's like, I don't know if I don't think they really want people talking about ESG scores. I think they only want the elites really knowing about that, and corporations, people who run corporations. And they just want it to work for them, right? But I don't think they really want people talking about it much. So anyways, Exxon, you guys know what ExxonMobil is. ExxonMobil is on the top 10 for the S&P 500 ESG score. ExxonMobil, it's a gas oil company, right? And like their whole agenda, according to the ESG guidelines, is to stop using gas and oil to power things in general, to power automobiles, to power trucks, to power equipment. Like, that's their whole agenda. And this corporation is in the top 10. It doesn't make any sense. And then they demote Tesla, they take it off. Okay, right? This is all BS, okay? The ESG score is BS, okay? Anybody that tries to tell you that it's actually about promoting wokeism, diversity and inclusion, and racial equity and gender equity, and worshiping the transgenders, whatever, and stopping, us from killing the earth, all this. This is BS. It's about control and power. Musk has previously criticized ESG, arguing that its investing rules have been twisted to insanity in an April tweet. Musk said he was increasingly convinced corporate ESG is the devil incarnate. Okay, pretty edgy. I agree, Yeah, I mean that's pretty awake stuff to say. So He also went on to say ESG is a scam. It has been weaponized by phony social justice warriors. S&P 500 has lost their integrity. So he's calling this out. ESG is the devil incarnate, all that. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. Now, he also shared this meme. What is an ESG score? It determines how compliant your business is with the leftist agenda. Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's all it is. It determines how compliant you are with the New World Order agenda. That's what it is. That's what the ESG score is, period. And that's 100% true. And they don't want you knowing that. See, I do not agree. I do not trust Elon Musk, but I don't think it's part of the agenda to highlight ESG scores. I just don't. I don't think that is meant to happen. I don't think they want that to happen. ESG is supposed to be a public thing, but also kind of a secret and not talked about that much, right? Sort of like the disinformation department they created with Nina Jankowicz. That wasn't supposed to be the talk of the town, but because it was slow news the past 3 weeks, and because Nina Jankowicz is making her dumb little, TikToks, right? Mary Poppins, supercalifragilistic, I am a disinfo agent, docious. Because of all that, people started paying attention. So that's the same thing here. The drama is kind of highlighting this thing that they didn't really want talked about that much. So what do you guys think about that? I don't know. Kind of wild. Here I am assuming Elon Musk's gender, calling him. All right, I'm going to read some of your comments. Feel free to super chat if you can. Here we go. Yeah, I would pay $4 to not see that commercial. You don't even know, Miss Maskless. That commercial that I have to watch, because I do like Lost. It's more of an old school show. It came out in 2004. You don't see craziness, agenda, wokeism. It was before the decline of Western civilization culture, where you still had some good shows and movies that were entertaining. Now it's just so over the top woke. You can't even watch anything anymore. And I'm not even one, I can ignore the propaganda to an extent and still find something entertaining and artistic and beautiful in its own way. I really can. I'm pretty good at that. And I think I'm good at that with Lost because, Lost, I'm a huge fan of that show. This is my second or third time watching it, over the past 15 years. And there is still some programming in there, right? But I'm able to sort of just, okay, we'll put that aside because it's not too overt. It's not too potent and over the top. And I can still enjoy it. But now I try to turn on Netflix and it's just whoa, I can't not see it. It's so in your face. And it's everybody has to be a transgender. Everybody has to be in an interracial relationship. Everybody has to be making anybody who's a conspiracy theorist look like a kook. That TV show You that I watched a couple years ago, about the guy who's courting these girls and he's secretly sort of a sociopath and ends up killing them. It was kind of entertaining, but I had to stop watching it because then they start talking about the anti-vax thing and pushing their anti-vax agenda, I guess pro-vax. They were making the anti-vaxxers look like crazy idiots, right? That's my point. So they were promoting this agenda, and it was kind of like, dude, come on, it's like so over the top. Like, can't you just like, I don't know, like make it a little less part of the plot or something, and just make it like one little like quote or so. Like, even then, it's just I can't watch this stuff anymore. Anyways, I'm ranting. So, yeah, on to the ESG thing. Oh wait, should I read more of your chats? Let's read more of your chats. Actually, let's read a couple more of your chats. Yeah, those commercials are awful. Like, just watch like gay interracial dudes, like, and they're oily too in the commercial. You should see it. Like this commercial that always comes on, it's like they're oily and they're like super flamboyant and gay, and it's like interracial, and they talk, I love you, you know. It's like, man, I just I don't want to see that shit. I do not want to see that. And it just makes me so mad. You don't see anything that overt in like a movie from the 90s. You know, even though, okay, like it had its programming, it had its things, you know, there was definitely some predictive programming there. You had that movie Outbreak, right? That was from like the late 90s with Dustin Hoffman. But you know what? It didn't have oily, gay, interracial dudes like all upon each other. At least it didn't have that, you know? It's like, am I a 2A man? Yes, I'm a 2A man. Are you kidding me? I got an AK, an AR. They say don't say what guns you have, but hey, I might have more guns than just those too, you know? I got everything, yo. I got everything. So you're saying interracial relationships are bad? No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, it's part of the agenda they're pushing. Like, it's obvious what kind of agenda they want to bring about. It's like this idea of equity. It's like worshiping something that it doesn't mean anything. Like, okay, an interracial relationship. Like, I'm not like against it. I'm just saying, it's like, why not have values that actually mean something? Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, and it's part of the agenda. Their agenda is to mix and match everybody, all cultures and all races, so that you are an easily manipulatable pawn that has no connection to anything in terms of your heritage, in terms of your culture, or to the past either, because they want to create a great reset, and that includes a great reset of culture and race too. So that's what it's about, and it's not about white or black either. It's about getting rid of both white and black, right? Or both Hispanic and Asian, right? And then also the respective nations too, like, you know, Scottish, Japanese, you know, Nigerian. So they don't want any of that. They don't want you having a connection to your past and your ancestors and your culture and your religion and all of that. That's why they push the interracial thing, because if they get rid of all of that, those connections to the past that mean so much, that give us like this how you define your future relates directly to how you relate to your past, right? Your future is determined by how you viewed yourself in the present and how you viewed where you come from, and you know your line of ancestors and your culture and religion and all this and God and everything. So it all intertwines into one. And the fact that, yes, they do want to get rid of that so they can wipe you clean, like they do to like a military cadet when they send them to boot camp. They break them down, wipe them clean. It's like resetting a hard drive so they can install something new into it, right, on a collective level. And that's what this interracial, intercultural, that's obviously a huge one, because culture plays a huge role into it. That's what that's all about. And getting rid of religion too. They want Christianity to go away. They even want Islam to go away. They want all of that to go away, guys, because they want to create a new form of humanism where you worship the earth and you worship basically them as gods, right? Guys like Klaus Schwab. And people don't understand that. You know. Yeah, the clergy plan, right. That's... Oh, here we go. A couple super chats. Roberta Starr, thank you so much. $5. Miss Maskless. For commercial-free Hulu. Oh my goodness. You're so funny. Thank you so much. $4. Now I can get 1 month of commercial-free Hulu. It probably won't take, it might take me a couple months to watch Lost, but at least that takes care of one of those months. You know what? I'm really going to get it. I'm really going to do it. Thank you so much, Miss Maskless. I'm actually going to spend that $4 on that. Of course, YouTube will take like 2 of those dollars, but whatever. Oh man, that's so funny. That was a good one. Anyways, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going here. Okay, I read some chats. More super chats would be nice, guys. The donos, you gotta get those donos. Anyways, this is a tweet from not an analyst, right? 5 oil and gas companies were added to the S&P 500 ESG index when Tesla was removed. Marathon Oil Corp, Phillips 66, Valero Energy Corp, Baker Hughes Company, EOG Resources, aka Enron, the old Enron. So these are all on the S&P 500 ESG list, and they're all oil companies and gas companies, and Tesla's removed. See, that's when you know it's an agenda, right? Not that, again, I'm not trying to say that I necessarily support Tesla. I don't think I would buy a Tesla, but I'm just saying, like, this is an agenda. They see Elon going a little bit off the reservation, not being in line with their agenda, which he has been on board with for a long time. Where do you think he got a lot of the funding to start Tesla and make sure it didn't go out of business, right? A lot of it came from government, quasi-government groups and all this, environmental NGOs and all that. Not all of it, but, there was some shadiness that went on back in the early 2000s and stuff with Elon and Tesla and all that. I know there's a little bit of corruption there, but now it seems like maybe he's kind of like got a big head on his shoulders, and he's kind of just telling them, you know what, I'm still going to put the brain chips in people, but screw you guys or something. You're just looking to start a fight with BlackRock. Here we go. This is out of Bloomberg. How BlackRock made ESG the hottest ticket on Wall Street. And Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, if you don't know who BlackRock is, they are the largest asset manager in the world. They manage over, I think, $10 trillion in global assets. So they are the most powerful entity pretty much on planet Earth. And nobody even knows who they are, of course. And that's how it's designed to be, just so you know. Of course, if you watch my channel, you know who BlackRock is. But Larry Fink went on to say, our flows continue to grow and dominate. And this was him talking about ESG, right? BlackRock is a leader in ESG, and we are seeing the flows, and I continue to see this big shift in investor portfolios. What Fink did not say is that BlackRock drove a significant part of that shift by inserting its primary ESG fund into popular and influential model portfolios offered to investment advisors who use them with clients across North America. The huge flows from such models mean many investors got into an ESG vehicle without necessarily choosing one as a specific investment strategy or knowing that their money has gone into one. So what BlackRock is doing is promoting and trying to really drive these funds that involve ESG, right? And they're a huge player in this. And anything BlackRock does is literally the agenda. Like if there was a head of the snake for like Satan's plan for the world, it might be BlackRock. Like, at least from what we know so far, I'm sure there's an even more apt version of the head of the snake that we don't know about, that nobody talks about, that is somewhere in the shadows or something. Some crazy Bohemian Grove Counselor 13 stuff or something going on. But if there's as close of a thing to the head of the snake as we can sort of just see in plain sight, it's BlackRock, right? And of course, yeah. I mean, I think Satan's directly involved in BlackRock. So when BlackRock is one of the main promoters of ESG, one of the main reasons why ESG has grown as well the past couple of years. Their language on it and their corporate statements has gotten tremendously more insistent that we have to make sure ESG is part of the investment strategy of the world. And they're one of the main leaders. They're at the tip of the spear in driving this point ahead. So Elon declaring war on UN, ESG, and de facto BlackRock in many ways. So, I mean, look at some of these tweets, from Mr. Elon Tusk. Political attacks on me will escalate dramatically in coming months, he says. That's just one of his tweets. And then he shared the meme I showed you there. What else is he saying here? He's talking about Exxon, ESG, like I already said before. Yeah, so, and then he goes on to say this: ESG is an outrageous scam. And this is where it gets interesting. He's retweeting this thing that half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are fake. And that's what we're going to get into next here, how the internet is fake. So and this is, I actually watched a video from John LeBon like a month ago about the dead internet theory. And it really caught my attention because I do think that is true. I think the internet post 2017 is fake. 100%, not 100% fake, but it's very, very fake, right? So what do we got here? We got half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are fake. Yeah, and so this plays into quite a bit as well, the dealings with Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter now too, because this is all being revealed now. Half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are fake. Nearly half of Elon Musk's 90 million Twitter followers are fake. And this is all according to recent audits. And it's really pretty crazy too, because if you look at let me see here if we got this. Do we have the New York Times tweet? No, I guess not. But there was if you look at some of these major news outlets, a lot of they have no engagement, right? They have they're supposed to have 100 million followers with zero engagement, and it doesn't make any sense at all, right? Now you could make the argument, of course, a lot of these Twitter accounts that have millions and millions and millions of followers but get 3 retweets or something. You could make the argument that a lot of their followers maybe made accounts in 2013 and then just used Twitter for a month and then just never signed on again. I actually know a few people that kind of did that, because back in college, a lot of people signed up for Twitter when I was back in college, 2011, 2010. And then, they're on Twitter for a few months and then they just disappeared from Twitter. And you can still look up their accounts, actually. It's kind of funny. My old college friends still have Twitter accounts and their last tweet was from 2012. It's okay. But they're still there. It's they haven't even checked the account. It's kind of funny. But, maybe at that time, the New York Times account was around. They followed it because they just, were recommended to follow random accounts. If you're a normie, who do you follow on Twitter? I don't know. There's a New York Times, the president, and I don't know, LeBron James or something. So I get that. But, a lot of these accounts are fake spam bots that end up spamming people in the comments. Those aren't old accounts created 10 years ago that nobody signed into in 8 years, right? That is the sign of a fake astroturfed AI environment that is manipulating people's opinions on a mass scale. That's what that is. Controlling the conversation, directing the conversation, radicalizing certain elements of, well, especially the wokeists, right? And that's what this is all about, I think. When you look at a lot of these fake spam accounts and these fake followers, these are literal shills, in my opinion. A lot of them are AI bot shills. A lot of them also are trying to run crypto scams and stuff too. That's an element of it. But a lot of it is an astroturfing for special interest groups, corporations. Like I'm sure Pfizer has their army. I'm sure AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, I'm sure BlackRock, I'm sure Israel, I'm sure the U.S. government, I'm sure, the Kremlin. I'm sure all of these places have their bot armies. Some of them might be human controlled, but a lot of them are AI now, and they're very effective at controlling the narrative in an inorganic way that seems organic and grassroots. It's very deceptive. It's very manipulative. And I think we have a fake internet. I think we have a dead internet. I think most of the people on Twitter are just like a very, very small handful. I think the platform's been dead for a long time. I think YouTube's been dead for a long time. I think these companies are probably falling apart, and I don't know what people are up to anymore. I guess they're going on Instagram now. That's one that seems like it's having real growth because real people actually post on Instagram, it seems like. But other than that, a lot of these places are falling apart. And this is what happens when you start stifling free speech and people don't feel like they are able to say what they want to say, and it becomes a less interesting area. And so it's been replaced by bots, and it's like a handful of people now with a bunch of bots following them, manipulating people's opinions. It's just so cringe and weird. This speaks for itself, and then Elon went to say this, 20% of fake spam bot accounts, while 4 times what Twitter claims, could be much higher, because Twitter came out and said that actually only 5% or less of their accounts are bots or fake or spam. But Elon's saying, I don't know how he knows this, but he's saying it's actually probably 20% or higher. And the thing is, he offered to buy Twitter, and the fact is, Twitter has been defrauding their investors because, well, if more than 20% of their, and it's probably way more than that, it's probably like half, of their users are bots, fake spam, total shills, government, special interest group operations, then they've been defrauding their investors, making their company look a lot more valuable than it is. When in reality, most of the accounts aren't even human and are just shills, right? So the fact that, if you invested in Twitter expecting that they had this many users, right? When in reality, it's only half that because half those users are just bots, well, then you've been defrauded. And there's a case for fraud there. There's a case for being sued, right? For people taking Twitter to court. Investment firms, regular individuals, and Elon Musk himself. Now Elon Musk is saying that the deal is on hold for him to buy Twitter because of this. He's discovering this and releasing a lot of this information, and a lot of these audits are now happening at Twitter or to Twitter, showing that they've been defrauding everybody and that the internet is fake. And their platform is fake. It's all astroturfing and shills, right? I think you see a lot of that in YouTube too. I think you see a lot of that in Facebook. And the AI is at the point now where it's just like the internet is fake. It's a hoax, guys. And it's kind of weird, right, to think about it like that. But I think that's what's going on. I don't know. I'm definitely not saying like any of you guys are fake or anything. Like Miss Maskless, we know is real. Faith Farah, all y'all are mad real. But there are plenty of bots. You know how many spam bots I have to ban in my comment section every time I put out a video? at least a couple, and it'll always be like them trying to promote like sexy ladies or like crypto or porn or something like that. It's bad. So let me see here. Okay. I'm just looking at your you guys' comments here. I can tell you I'm for real, y'all. I'm for real, y'all. It's worse than that. Bogus Hype says they can take control of individual active accounts and like ads in other tweets. Yeah, definitely. I mean, sure. I mean, they have total control of everything if they want to. Scoville says, Biden Twitter followers are the same people who bought CNN Plus. Yeah, right. No one bought CNN Plus, man. Come on now. Miss Maskless have 20 followers. Yeah. Miss Maskless says, don't they do the UFO stuff like every other year? I think they're doing that at the start of the pandemic. Yeah, the UFO thing, that's still coming. That's still going to be something that the media is going to push. I think it's going to come to a head at a certain point. We all know, I've talked about it many times, where you're going to see some crazy stuff with the UFO phenomenon, and it's going to become something that you actually see in your own life on a daily basis. I think it's going to get more and more obvious that phenomenon is happening. What is it? I mean, I think probably it's, first of all, it's going to be used to promote their Great Reset agenda, their Agenda 2030 and all that. And I think it's essentially going to be a conspiracy. I mean, to be frank, I think it's going to be kind of, I don't want to say like a hoax, because I don't really know what the phenomenon is. It's happening, but is it like a Project Bluebeam thing? Is it a government op? Is it some sort of spiritual weird thing? Is it some sort of off-world thing? I don't know. We could talk about that all day, but that's for another video. That's for another live stream. So yeah, moving on here. Now, Elon's kind of like trying to back out of this deal because there's a lot of evidence that Twitter is basically a dead platform and fake internet, right? It's fake. So anyways, that's going on still, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding that. It's still a developing thing. Really kind of interesting, though. I wonder if this is all going to be exposed, you know? Now, this is where it gets... we're just going to watch this because it's entertaining, okay? This is where it gets crazy, right? So right as all this is happening, what is this? Oh, this is what I was going to show you guys, right? This is perfect timing, actually. I found it. New York Times, this is from like 8 hours ago. They posted this. Yeah, well, actually, it's like 9 hours ago. And it only has 21 retweets and 121 likes. New York Times, how many followers you got? 53 million after 9 hours. 53 million followers after 9 hours. You only have 21 retweets. I guess if you count the quote tweets, you have 28 retweets. Really? After 9 hours? There's supposed to be 53 million people following you. Bullcrap. 121 likes? Really? Heck, once a week, once every 2 weeks, I get this kind of engagement right here, and I have like 4,000 followers. You know, I mean, that's not even, what is that, 0.004%? No, I don't know, 0.002% or something of what they have. Give me a break. Lies. But anyway, let's look into this Project Veritas thing, because this is actually really funny. So right as this whole thing's going on, this is just funny, man. Okay? This is just crazy. This is crazy. So I guess Project Veritas, you know, the James O'Keefe operation, went undercover and has this Twitter executive going on record here, hitting camera, saying that Elon Musk is mentally handicapped, has Asperger's, we shouldn't take him seriously because of this, and that he's not here to give people free speech, or at least Twitter isn't supportive of free speech. And why should we trust Elon Musk? He has Asperger's and all this stuff. Like, whoa, dude. And like, this is supposed to be like a woke platform, and you're making fun of mentally challenged people, dude. That's kind of like, even for the far right, like crazy type, that's, even they don't make fun of people with like mental disorders. Like, that's just kind of like, whoa, man. Anyways, let's just check it out. It's just out of control.
Well, right now we don't make profit, so it's going to say ideology, which is what's led us to not being profitable. The rest of us who have been here believe in something that's good for the planet and not just to give people free speech.
So there you have it. That encapsulates what I guess really ESG is about, what the Great Reset is about, what the UN Agenda 2030 is about in this woke cult. And the left and the Democrats, it's about saving the planet, not giving you free speech. He just encapsulated the entire agenda right there. We don't care about your rights. We care about the planet. But, of course, really what it's about, it's not even about the planet. It's about seizing power, period.
Because again, like, these people really do believe in what we're doing. These are the policies we've put in place for misinformation or mislabeling media or whatever.
Yeah.
Why do you think this should be taken down?
Yeah.
Like, those are the questions they're going to ask him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for him to be like, oh, because people should make their own decision. It's like, no, but people don't know how to make a rational decision if you don't put out correct things that are supposed to be out in the public.
See, he's saying that, we are the elite. We are your gods. We know better than you do. And you don't have the ability to make rational decisions. We have to make these decisions for you. We have to control the information you see and lead you in a certain direction. That's what he just said. These are like a Hunger Games intellectual elite that think they're better than you and think, in fact, if you look at a lot of these types, they think they're above God. They are filled with pride, right? They are children of the lie. They are children of Satan. And that was Satan's downfall, pride and thinking they're better. He's better than everybody. And that's what these people think too. These are Satanists.
Advertiser as my business is what I do every day, and why I go out is like, we want it to be as fair and transparent and accurate as possible.
Yeah.
And if that means there's a level of censorship to make it correct, quote unquote, again, and what does correct mean? I guess like it just kind of goes back to the idea of like, well, what is correct? If we're implementing all these rules and Elon wants to dismantle them, then technically our ideology has led us to not making money because we're not making money. And Elon wants to turn it the other way so that we can make money.
So this guy, he's on camera now admitting that essentially going woke is going broke. So, of course, there's been many on the right that say if you go woke, you go broke. And in some cases, that's true. In other cases, it's actually not true. Some places end up going woke and end up growing. But most of the time, it does seem that if you go woke, you go broke. Because especially now, I think people are getting a little tired of it. But they're still going to push it because they are satanic zealots, right? That's what they live, eat, and breathe this stuff. And this is what I'm talking about. The Twitter executives literally valued wokeness over profit. And this guy's criticizing Elon Musk for coming and trying to buy it and saying, hey, look, instead of valuing wokeness, a subjective ideology of like this cult that has taken over Western civilization, instead of valuing that, let's just try to be profitable here and stay in business and not collapse under our own feet, under the weight of a trillion bot accounts that are promoting special interest agendas and government operations and psyops and all this. How about we just try to be profitable, right? Oh, yes. Lord forbid. That's why I'm not I really hate this idea of like really criticizing people who make money or corporations who are profitable, because profit is actually it's irrelevant. Well, it's irrelevant in terms of morality. If anything, you could make an argument that's actually moral to make profit, because at least you're being motivated by profit and not evil. But sometimes, these corporate groups will prioritize profit so much that they'll engage in evil to get there. So that's the real problem. But anyway, I digress a bit there.
Statement they need all 7,000 people to say. And so they can't tell us that the real truth. He has Asperger's.
Yeah, I know that.
So he's special. Your special needs. You're literally special needs. So I can't even take what you're saying seriously. Targeting of tweets.
Wait.
You can read it.
Let me see. And how to protect.
So he says, he has Asperger's. He's literally special needs. You're special needs. So I can't take anything you say seriously. Whoa, dude. That's a low blow, dude. That's a low blow.
Protect yourself.
By the way, you know who else is special needs? You know who else is mentally challenged? The President of the United States. Isn't that kind of funny? Like, he literally has dementia. I don't know.
Groups like Project Veritas are active right now. F*** is that?
It's like some group that's trying to just out the employees. Like, they're trying to go on dates with them like this and record them and then go sell it to the New York Times and say, this is what the Twitter employee just said. This is what's really happening. This is what they're telling us to not do. You're lucky that
This is kind of funny, right? This is almost like gaslighting at its finest. This guy is undercover filming him, and he works for Project Veritas, and he got the target to show him the email that Twitter sent the executives saying for them not to disclose any of the information he's disclosing on the hidden camera right now, telling the executives to not disclose any of this, the employees, while he's doing it on hidden camera. And the guy who's like actually targeting him and wearing the hidden camera, working for Project Veritas, is like reading the Twitter email warning of all this. Is like, what is Project Veritas? Man, that's funny. That's funny. That's like rubbing it in your face, You gotta love it. That is kind of funny. It's kind of a good one. It's like a mic drop, right? Or it's like, if you ever played like Halo or Call of Duty, when, somebody shoots you and kills you, and then they come and they kind of like teabag you, right? And they sit up and down. It's like a thing you can do. If you crouch and go up and down like this, it looks like you're teabagging the person you just killed as they're laying on the ground. That's kind of like what's going on here.
That you met me organically, because I would be questioning everything about you.
The target says, you're lucky that you met me organically, because I would be questioning everything about you as he's being filmed. He must have known he was being filmed. I mean, that's kind of like a little too over the top. Now, this is funny. This same dude ended up being targeted. Well, not targeted really, but confronted later on, recently actually. This is the most recent Project Veritas release. It's James O'Keefe himself confronting the same dude in that hidden camera footage. So check it out.
Out for a jog on the streets of New York with Twitter brass. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
I'm James O'Keefe with Project Veritas.
Oh my God.
You are on hidden camera.
Okay.
Talking about Elon Musk.
This is like an episode of Dateline. To Catch a Predator. That's what it reminds me of. He sits down, except it's in public. He sits down. He's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And the guy's like awkwardly like, "Oh, hi." Yeah, busted.
Why is it funny?
Well, no, I'm just like, you're literally just trying to like capture me in the middle of my own dinner.
Yes. Quote, you're special needs. You're literally special needs. I don't even take what you're saying seriously because you're special needs.
That's not true. I'm like, you're special needs. You're literally special needs. Asked by people that are coming on camera.
we're journalists, and I know that you don't believe in the First Amendment.
I'm gonna just finish my dinner. So.
Your dinner's over there.
I love Elon Musk.
Love Elon Musk? If you look through the glass, he's sitting over there, avoiding us. So this is you on video.
I'm like, yeah, thank you. I
Look
mean,
at you
seriously, that
on
was
video.
I to try to harass
James, come on.
Get the f*** out of here.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Why are you cursing at me?
People are trying to have a...
They're hugging him. Oh, there he is. There he goes. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, okay, I'm never interrupting you.
Hi, I want to take a jog. Why are you running
away.
You're literally disclosing an email. It says right. Here's the email. I can read. Team groups like Project Veritas
Look at him go.
are active right now.
Fat man can run.
Right? Excuse
There he
me,
goes.
sir. What is Elon Musk going to do when he sees this?
I don't know.
I'm on the street in New York City.
Running into any building he can.
You tell me.
Stand up. You could do that. Yeah. That would be good if you go on stage.
About to go on stage with a videotape of this Twitter executive and confront him. Here we go. Oh, there he is. He's turned around. There you are mocking the special needs. Well, you have already talked to us, sir. You are mocking Elon Musk's Asperger's condition. What is Twitter's ideology? The Twitter executive is walking into traffic. He's going back and forth, zigzagging like he's got into a cab. That was crazy.
That was great. That was funny. It's just funny to see, you know. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I mean, it really is kind of over the top. And here's another clip where one of the other engineers at Twitter admits that Twitter currently is commie as fuck. And stuff like that. And it does not believe in free speech. I mean, it's kind of, we already know this, but it's still, this is straight from the horse's mouth. So.
Twitter does not believe in free speech. What do you mean? Believe in free speech. Capitalists, if we weren't really operating like capitalists more, we were very socialist. Like we're all like communist. Ideologically, it does not make sense, like because we're actually censoring the right, not the left. Because everyone on the right wing will be like, bro, it's okay to say, just gotta tolerate it. The left will be like, no, I'm not gonna tolerate it. I need it censored, or else I'm not gonna be on the platform. So it does serve the right. It's true. There is a bias. I don't know if the two parties can truly coexist on one platform.
What do your colleagues say about it? Like,
they hate it. Oh my god, I'm at least like okay with it, but some of my colleagues are like super left.
What do they say?
They're like, this will be my last day if it happens. So,
has much changed since like Elon's coming out?
a lot has changed. A lot has changed. We're all like worried for our jobs.
Why are you guys so worried?
You know, jobs are at stake. He's like,
I started working for Twitter and became I think it's just like the environment. Like you're there, and you become like calm.
We did all we could to like revolt against it. A lot of employees revolted against it.
So this guy's saying like, that's just what we all do. We're all communists, you know. That's what we all believe. And you know, I became a leftist when I started working there because of the environment. So. And we don't believe in free speech, none of that. And, you know, so this is just crazy.
But at the end of the day, board of directors have a say, and then they acted on their best interests because they didn't want to get sued. I basically went to work like 4 hours a week last quarter. That's just how it works in our company.
Yeah. How would you describe communism besides Twitter?
Essentially, like everyone gets to do whatever they want. No one really cares about like OPEX. Like capitalists will care about numbers, will care about like how to make the business more efficient. But in Twitter, it's like mental health is everything. Like if you're not feeling it, you can take a few days off. People have taken months off, they'll come back. But you always like do your best at any time, and that's the culture. And you know.
Wow, you hearing this? So part of the company culture there is like you can just take a few days off if you feel like it. You can take a couple months off, Just come back when you feel like it. They don't really promote hard work. They don't care about numbers. They don't care about statistics. They don't care about data. They just, we care about your mental health. And, it doesn't matter how well the company's doing. It doesn't matter how innovative we are. It doesn't matter how much work we do, how efficient we are, how much people like us, how profitable we are. None of that matters. Just go take a few months off. He said he worked 4 hours in the last quarter. What? How does that even make any sense? So that would mean from the beginning of January 2022 to the end of March, or the beginning of April 2022, for 3 months straight, he only worked 4 hours? This is Twitter? What a joke. And this is why I think these people are done. Like, that's why Elon's probably backing out of this deal. He's like, jeez, I don't think I can buy this company. This is awful. The platform's collapsing. It's all bots, right? Literally half of Twitter is probably bots and shills and astroturfers. And the employees don't work, literally. And the ones that do will only be for 4 hours every 3 months. And they're communists. So why should I buy Twitter? That's why he's trying to back out of the deal, I think. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You think Twitter's going to keep going? I'm more of a fan of Gab, So that's why I say, hey, I'm going to plug my Gab. Follow me on Gab, man. It's fun. It's good times. I also have a Gab group. Let's go to it here. These are the groups I'm involved with, but this is the one I run here. There's always people posting on it. It's actually pretty active. It's usually very, very active. It's called Resisting the Great Reset on Gab. It's a group. And just follow me at Press Reset Earth. And then also on Telegram, I have a group, Resisting the Reset. It's a t.me/resisting the reset. That's where all the fun is now, boys. That's where all the fun is. And this is why I'm probably going to start streaming on Rumble and Odyssey. I would on BitChute, but they don't have a streaming service yet, I don't think, that I know of. But I'm going to try to use Restream, which is like this sort of software, I guess, that enables you to broadcast on multiple platforms at once. And I think you can program it to incorporate even alt tech. I don't know for sure. I think you can. Hopefully you can. And I'm going to start doing more of that. And I'll give you guys like a warning, or I should say a little update or notification on YouTube if I end up streaming over there, because of course nobody will see it if I don't. And if you want to become a Patreon member, that is in the description box below as well, where you can get direct updates from anything I post. So let's go to wrap up some of this. We got a super chat from Bogus Hype. Thank you so much. Thanks. Good going. Here's some cheese. Got to go. Later, brother. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Yes. Thank you. Enough twaddle. Thank you so much. Yup. Yeah. Thanks everyone in the chat. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much. Again, like, share, and subscribe this video. I'm going to try to repost it probably on the alt platforms too. But that's after it's downloaded, so it probably won't be till tomorrow. But thank you so much for watching. And obviously, I would follow me on Gab and join the Telegram group and become a Patreon member if you want as well. That being said, it's been Press. Keep your head up, stay real, and no fear.